and welcome back to Wireman's Whimsy. Today we are going to explore the Nature's Prints set. I've got the suite, and I've used one of the new in colors. The Orchid Oasis is my background, and also my sponge daubering on these flowers. What I've done is I've already gone ahead and done the stamping and die cutting, just to speed up the video a little bit. We need a standard North American card base, then a 5 1/4 by 4 in the Orchid Oasis, and a 5 by 3 3/4 in the basic white. Both of these I'm going to run through the Fern 3D embossing folder to give lots of texture. The stamps and the greeting have come from the Nature's Print stamp set. And I've used the Natural Prints dies that come in the bundle, if you purchase the bundle, to create the flowers. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to run these through the embossing folder. Again, this is 5 1/4 by 4, and I'm putting it in the embossing folder with the Stampin' Up! Logo up. That is the side that makes it go the right side up, so you're not running it through and getting the reverse image of what you want. Sometimes the reverse image is great. That's exactly what you want, but not always. So let's take this one out and pop this one through. We'll do the same thing again. And I just want to, excuse me, do a shout out to everybody who's commenting and sharing their thoughts on my videos. I appreciate the feedback. I do respond to all comments, and I love the conversations we're having. So please keep it up. I love the interaction. We can go ahead right away and glue these pieces down. I'll get my Stampin' Seal out. And because this is a 3D folder and the edges are quite bumpy or irregular, I'm going to put adhesive all the way around the outside edge. And I don't know if you can see in the video the actual detail in that. That's gorgeous. The embossing folders are such a great way to add interest to a card without taking away from anything else. It's not overbearing or overpowering. It just is that little bit of detail in the background that can really make a card pop. So if you're looking for places to invest your money with Stampin' Up!, I highly recommend using the embossing folders. They're not very expensive, but you get a huge amount of impact for your spend. So that's the card basic. So what I did is I used the greeting and I stamped it in the Orchid Oasis, and I used the frame die that's in the Nature's Print or Natural Prints dies. I wanted it to jump just a little bit, so I cut another piece out of the Pear Pizzazz paper, and then I just adhere it just a little bit offset, so that we've got, I'll just move this up to make sure that I'm actually in frame doing this. I just move it up and stick it down, so we've got that little bit of border around it. And this, you can do this with any die that doesn't have a coordinating kind of next size up. Just trying to get this even. There we go. So what you end up with, this is what it looks like on the back. But if you can see there's a gap here, but it doesn't really notice. But what it does is it makes the greeting pop. And while I've got it here, I'm just going to put a couple of dimensionals on the back. And I actually put this down first, just so that I could figure out where the ferns and the flower stems were going to go. So this is in the middle of the card, side to side, but towards the bottom. Top to bottom. The fern leaves I stamped in Pear Pizzazz and then cut out with the fern die. like that. And these fronds I stamped in soft seafoam. I inked up in soft seafoam, and then I used a sponge dauber in the Orchid Oasis just to kind of tap on where the flowers were, just to change the color there. I liked it better with a little bit of color in it, and it allowed me also to pull in the colors in the rest of the card. So I'm going to just flip everything over and put dimensionals on the back. This one is quite crowded, so this card that I built, I'm going to try and spread everything out just a little bit. So let's see how that goes. So I'm just going to pop dimensionals on these pieces. So I've got 3 of the ferns and 2 of the colorful fronds, and that's me using up another sheet of dimensionals. So I'll go around and I'll use all the bits from the edges next. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop one of these on this side, and you can see it's much further over than in the example. So let's see how this one comes out. So again, I'm going to pop this one way over. And then I'm going to put, I think I'm going to do the flowers next. Just pop that in like that. A little bit of overlap, but not a huge amount. And I haven't taken the backing off this one yet, so I'm just going to place it in. And this one still has a backing on as well, so I can place this one in as well. And yeah, I think I like that. Okay. So I'm going to pop this in like this, and then this one will go over the top like that. There we go. This one was very compact. Everything is kind of all the same level, whereas this one is a little bit more spread out. It looks a little bit more relaxed. The last step I did with this is I took some of my polished dots, and I worked with a bunch of different colors of Stampin' Blends to figure out what color I wanted to go with this. And what I found was that the light mossy meadow actually blended the best. So I am going to just pop these off. I have one over here. They're very subtle when you color these. It's very subtle coloring, but what it does is it just adds again that little bit of interest. So I'll pop one up there, and there we have our card all finished using elements from the Nature's Prints suite, the natural dies, the Nature's Prints stamp set, and then the Fern 3D embossing folder, and pulling in that new in color of Orchid Oasis. So thank you so much for watching, and let's create together again soon.